Students, in this video, we will be discussing about production function. Before studying production function, we need to understand the meaning of production. Generally, when we state the word production, the first image that we generally perceive is a manufacturing activity that is being carried on at some factory, at some plant, and we have consigned ourselves uh, to the manufacturing activity only. When we say production, so production means the manufacturing activity only. But in real terms, production is much has much broader meaning. It not only include manufacturing activity, it includes all that act through which a product value is added to the product. So production is not only the manufacturing of an output, it is it includes services also, it includes logistics also, through which a value is being added to the product. So it has been stated that production is the process of combining various material inputs and immaterial inputs in order to make something for consumption. So production has much broader term. Now, in production, there are certain factors through which production is carried on. All those factors of production are known as all those factors are known as factors of production. The first factor of production is capital. Capital is one of the essential part for carrying on any production activity. Capital is something, any amount which is being invested by the owner in the business is known as capital. For starting any business, funds are required, and initially those funds are invested by the owner himself. So whatever owner is investing is known as capital, and capital is the essential part to acquire all the requisite resources. We need capital. Without capital, no business can be started. If we discuss and if we find it out, we won't be having any example or any business which is working without any capital. Capital amount of capital may vary with the production activity carried on, but no business can run or start without capital. If you're starting any manufacturing unit, you must be requiring some huge amount of capital. If you carrying on some kind of consultancy services, the amount of capital required may be much lesser. So amount of capital may vary, but it is very much sure that you must be requiring capital for carrying on any production activity. Now, production activity not only required capital, it required land also. If you is carrying on any kind of activity, production activity, so it must be carried on at some place. For manufacturing, you require factory established at some particular place. If you carrying on some IT consultancy and IT consultancy for providing some IT consultancy, you must be requiring some office and it is being situated at particular location. Suppose you're providing some IT consultancy on cloud storage and your data is being stored at cloud, but anything which is that is virtual data storage, for storage of that data you don't require any kind of land, but the systems through which it has been operating must be located at some particular place. So land is essential. No business activity can be carried on without land. So for managing it, for operating it, for manufacturing it, for selling it, you require land. So land is another essential factor of production. Next we have labor. Labor is the variable factor. So labor is one of the essential factor for production. So uh, labor can be skilled, it can be unskilled, but for carrying on production function, we require labor. In some cases, the owner is working as a labor. In some cases, a owner has employed some employees to carry on their manufacturing activity. But labor is essential. Uh, Without labor, no production activity can be carried on. Next, we have technology. Technology is the essential part for the production function. Now, the level of advancement in the technology which you have employed in your manufacturing activity or production activity may be varying, but you must be requiring some, you must be using some technology to for carry on your business. You must be having advanced technology, or you must be having some classic or traditional technology through which manufacturing or production activity is carried on, and you require technology in every sphere of business activity. So, without technology, no business can be carried on. You must be applying some kind of tools, some kind of equipments into your business. There is no business which is operating without any tools and equipments. So you must be requiring some tools and equipments, and involvement of those tools and equipment ensure you are applying some kind of technology. The the advancement of technology may be varying, but application of technology is essential. Next time, for carrying on production activity requires time. No, in no time, no production activity can be carried on. So we invest time for carrying on any production activity. Time is invested. And last is enterprise. It is not a traditional concept. Recently, enterprise has become part of production factors of production. Since we have all the factors, we have labor, we have capital, we have land, we have technology, even we have time, but we require someone to manage all these factors. All these factors should be put in a line so that they work in concise to in synchronized manner. They cooperate with each another so that output is generated in an efficient manner. And to ensure all these activity, we require enterprise. Enterprise is nothing else, it is the organization or the entrepreneurial skills or the activity that the owner or someone is carried on, who take the responsibility for the management of all the resources, who take the responsibility to produce something. For producing those or anything, all the factors have been arranged and they are put into action so that output can be achieved. So enterprise is one of the essential factor of production. Now production function. Broadly, for the study purpose, all these factors of production has been categorized into two parts, that is capital and labor. Labor is the essential part, and through capital we can arrange all the requisite requirements which we require for carrying on production. So capital, since capital, labor cannot replace capital, capital cannot completely replace labor. So that's why we have kept labor and capital. But through capital, we can acquire technology, we can acquire other requisites, things which we require for carrying on production activity. Now, when we carrying on our production activity, so we need to understand it from the time perspective. And when we talk about time perspective, so time is always classified as short run and long run. So once we are carrying on some production activity, it may be carried on for a shorter time period, and it may be carried on for a longer time period. When we are talking about shorter time period, means if we are producing for a specific time only, for a time frame only, like seasonal products are manufactured. When we are talking about seasonal products in a 12 months time duration, suppose we require to manufacture those products for only 2 months. So we are manufacturing for a limited time. So short run is when the goods are manufactured for a shorter time period. And when we're talking about shorter time period, So we are having two factors of production, labor and capital. And out of these two factors, one factor is fixed, which we cannot change and which we should not change. And other factor is labor, which can be varied. In long run, all the factors of productions are variable. When we are manufacturing, we are planning our production for a longer time period. When we are thinking of manufacturing something for next 5 years, 10 years, in that case, we are in a position to make change in both the factors of production, that is long run, that is land and capital. In short run, suppose if you're manufacturing for in a year you manufacture seasonal product, so you require to manufacture some additional product for 2 months only, since the demand raises for 2 months in a year. So it is not an appropriate or good idea to install additional machinery for carrying on manufacturing for 2 months in a year, and for rest of the 10 months it will remain unutilized. So what you will be doing for that 2 months of period, instead of investing capital, the production can be increased through variation in labor. So it's very appropriate to increase labor as per the requirement, as per increase required in production for that 2 months period. So labor can be asked to do overtime, additional amount of bonus, or some appraisal can be paid, or some contract labor for 2 months can be had. Something can be done, but we have to vary the labor part only. Because if we are going to invest in capital, so that investment will be utilized only for 2 months in a year. For rest 10 months, it will remain unutilized. So if some resources are unutilized, so we are incurring some kind of opportunity cost on it, and that investment won't be giving us the due benefit that it deserves. When we are going to study production function from the short run point of view, so that is known as law of variable proportion. When we study production function from the long run point of view, that is known as law of return to scale. Let's discuss law of variable proportion. Law of variable proportion is law also known as law of diminishing return to scale. What it says, law of variable proportion says, in short run, in production we have two factors, that is capital and labor. We don't change capital. We generally don't change capital in short run. So we remain with labor that can be varied as per the requirement. So in short run, if you want to increase production, for that labor should be changed. Since we are not changing capital, capital is fixed. Suppose we are having one machinery, on that one machinery we have, usually in our normal working condition, we have only single labor, and that work for 8 hours. So we have one machinery, and we have one labor that is working for 8 hours. Gradually, for the 2 months time period, we need to speed up our production. We need to double up our output for 2 months. So what we can do, we are having a one machinery. We are currently having one labor. Either we can ask our existing labor to work 4 more additional hours daily on the same machinery, or we can ask a new contractual labor to work for 2 months on a contractual basis, and the first 8 hours will be allotted to our existing employee, and remaining 8 hours, rest next 8 hours, since we have 24 hours in a day, so first 8 hours for our existing employee, second 8 hours for our contractual labor employee. So since we have one machinery, we are not investing in machinery, and through employment or involvement of contractual labor for next 8 hours, our production get speed up. If we further want to increase our production, so what we can do, we have still remained with 8 hours in 20 out of 24 hours. So we can hire second contractual labor, and that contractual labor can work for remaining 8 hours. So now our single machinery, on that single machinery, we have three employees. One is our regular employee, two contractual labor. Each of these three are working for 8 hours in a day. Now, if the owner has understand that to increase the output each and every time, we have to we have to just change the labor. With the increase in labor, output will get increased. And if you have fourth labor, third contractual labor, assuming that likewise first employment of first three labors, our output has increased. So same case will happen by employment of fourth labor also won't be the case. Since the fourth labor won't have you don't have any additional machinery to allot to him. The 24 hours is already allotted to the three labors. If you had a fourth labor, so what will be happening is that fourth labor won't be doing much contribution to your output. What you will be doing, you will be reducing the working hours of first three labors. All those first three labors will be allotted 6 hours in a day, and the remaining 6 hours, which you somehow spare from the three working employees, will be allotted to your fourth labor. So what will be happening is in that case, your output will get constant. It will not be increasing now since the fourth labor is not doing something additional. Machine is working 24 hours, three labors can do so. Fourth labor, again, machine is working 24 hours, nothing additional output can be generated. If you have fifth labor, with the employment of fifth labor, you don't have any time, you don't have any machinery. What will be happening? That will be adding cost. So your return will get diminished since the cost is raising. And the output which the five labor need to produce won't be doing so because you don't have any machinery to give him to work on. So in short run, since the capital is fixed and with the variation in labor each and every time with the variation in labor, output won't increase. So we have to maintain a optimum combination of labor and capital so that our output is increased and optimized. So we have to employ labor up to a certain limit. Beyond that point, if we are employing labor, our output won't be increasing. In fact, it will be decreasing. So that is law of variable proportion. It tells us with the employment of labor each and every time, output won't increase. It increases up to a certain level. You have to decide what is that level, where up to what level you need to have employees. Beyond that level, don't employ any additional employee. So that is law of variable proportion. We're having a table to understand it. First column shows fixed factor, that is land, which is same constant. We are not making any change in it. Next, we are having variable factor. Early it was mentioned land, it was labor. So first we are having zero labor, zero output. Next we are having one labor. So we are having output 2. If we employ one more labor, now two labors are working on 1 acre land. Now output is 6. That means you have generated 4 additional units. With the employment of third labor, our total output is 12. That means you have generated 6 additional units. Now these three labors are enoughly working. We employ fourth labor. With the employment of fourth labor, our output is increased, total output increased to 16. That means per labor we're generating 4 more units. Fifth labor employment generates us 2 additional units, and sixth labor gives us 0 additional units. Since to sixth labor we don't have any time or land to work on. If we employ seventh labor and eighth labor, our marginal output will get diminished since they are not contributing to the output. So up to a certain level, a variable factor should be changed. Beyond that level, variable factor won't add to the output. Same thing can be expressed in a graphical format also. But we need to understand that entire life cycle has been categorized into three stages. First stage shows increasing return, second stage shows diminishing return, and the third stage shows decline. So each and every manufacturing unit tries to operate in at second unit. No manufacturing unit want to enter at third stage. No manufacturing unit want to remain restricted till first stage. Since in second stage you have scope to increase your output. Our output is increasing, and we need to employ it till fifth labor. Since till fifth labor our output is increasing. So we need to employ till fifth labor. We need to operate in stage 6, and we should not go beyond 5 labors. If we are employing anything which is more than 5 labor, so the contribution will be either 0 or negative. The same thing is being denoted through a graph. So it is showing that first stage we are having an increasing rate of return, then we are having a diminishing rate of return, and then our output is declining. So company will operate where our total output is maximum, right? So total output maximum, like in this case, we are having 18 units as total maximum output. So we will be operating at till fifth labor. So that is law of variable proportion. So output won't increase each and every time with the employment of labor. You need to find a proper combination, optimum combination of labor and machine. Since we cannot vary machine, so we have a limit to employ a limited labor. So our machine can be utilized optimally. So that can be done through law of variable proportion. Next, we're in law of return to scale. Law of return to scale is a long-term concept. In long term, we can vary both the factors of variable, labor and capital both. And for increasing output in long run, we have to make change in both the factors, labor and capital. Change in one factor won't work. So if we are going for long run, we have to make change in both the factors, labor and capital. With the involvement and change in labor and capital, our output may increase at increasing rate, it may increase at constant rate, and it may increase at diminishing rate. So either of the situation will be there, and what you will be trying to, you will be trying to operate till where you're with the involvement of, with the increase in labor and capital, our output is up to constant. It should not be diminished. So we will be operating till our output is constant. Like we are having a graph. So we will be making change in both both labor and capital. So we will be getting output at increasing rate. So it's increasing rate. So we will keep on varying our labor and capital till it is increasing. So then it will become constant. So it's a constant. So again, we will be operating stage 2 where it is constant. Once if we make more change in both the factors, labor and capital, we will be getting diminishing return. So this question raises, when we can vary both labor and capital, why we are getting a diminishing return on our output? It should be always increasing. It may be constant. If we have increased our labor and capital by 100%, output may be more than 100% or 100%. But when we have increased our labor and capital by 100%, how come our output be something less than 100%? So reason is being a reason of diminishing is a team or owner or individual has limit. Individual or team can manage a limited resources. So till they are able to manage, so they are getting increasing or constant return. Once a mismanagement starts, even if you're investing both, if you're increasing both labor and capital, even then your output will be increasing at diminishing, or it will not be increasing. In fact, it will be getting diminished. So each and every individual team has some restrictions, and you have to operate taking into consideration those restrictions. There, that is law of return to scale.